It's a dangerous game when a man thinks that he is the ultimate authority of perspective and it has to make sense in his head to change his behavior. Hello everybody, my name is Silas Nasita. I'm 31 years old, live here in Waco, Texas. Today I want to talk about a red flag in men that if you see this, you should run. I have a bunch of comments that I want to respond to or talk about from the previous video. I want to talk about that at the end, so stick around if you want to see that. But I want to talk about this because I was inspired. Last night I went to dinner with my wife and my friend and this girl that they've been on dates. And we got to talking about red flags in men. And she asked me, what is the biggest red flag that you see, you would say to look for in guys? If you're a girl looking, this actually video is for girls, which, well, it's for both, but I usually talk directly to just guys. But this video might be helpful for women out there. A big red flag that you should look for is this. Do they listen to somebody in their life? And this is really important. What I mean by listen is, do they actually do what others advise them to do, even if it doesn't make sense to them? The reason I'm telling you this, I'll give you some context for my story. I was in a relationship in the past. A lot of people actually know about it. I was married and got divorced. But one of the biggest things that I did so poorly and wasn't even really aware of it at the time was I never really listened to any, I didn't really have people in my life that I really listened to. And when I say again, listen, where if they came to me and said, Silas, you're doing this thing, whether or not you see it that way or not, this is how this is the consequence of what you're doing. Even if you see it or even if you don't see it, this is happening and you should not do this or you should do this. They would give me feedback and then I would listen to it and do it. So most of the time it played out in my relationship, my wife at the time would give me this feedback. Hey, you're doing this. Hey, this is happening. You don't see it. And if it didn't make sense to me, I would just blow it off. No, I'm not really doing that. I would invalidate a lot. And invalidating often came from me just not being willing to submit to someone else's perspective of what's happening and say, hey, even if I don't understand, I'm going to do it. This is really, really dangerous. If you're thinking about dating a guy and there's nobody in his life who, if they came to him and said, hey, don't do this, and they were willing to be like, okay, even though it doesn't make sense, I'm gonna go with what you're saying, this is super dangerous. Because when you get into this relationship and you come to them and you express a concern about something that they're doing or some action that makes you feel a certain way, they're going to say, well, I have a different perspective and you're wrong. And this is kind of how I think gaslighting happens a lot. And I was guilty of this in my marriage. I'm not proud of it. Didn't recognize it at the time. It was wrong. But it was super bad because then you have a person, and of course this can go both ways, but I'm talking more from a perspective from a man. I wrote, when my ex would say something, I would hear what she would say, maybe even acknowledge it, but then I wouldn't actually change my behavior because I didn't believe in it. And I think for me, in my life, I think a lot of it stemmed from the fact that I grew up without a dad and didn't have a really good relationship with my mom. And so I didn't learn to trust that if other people gave me these rules, if you will, because that's kind of another way to say it, is like, hey, I don't fully understand. It's kind of a rule. Hey, I didn't really ever trust that those rules or that advice or that correction, if you will, was actually for my good. I always thought I just didn't trust that it was good for me, and so I was like, I don't trust you. I don't trust that you have my best interest in mind, so I'm not going to listen to it. And that happened to me a lot. Let me explain how it looks now in my life. There are a number of people now in my life, men, who, if Taylor were to go, if Taylor, my wife, would go to them and say, hey, Silas and I are in this disagreement. Now, like, say the three of us got together, right? Silas and I are in this disagreement, and this is how I feel. This is what I feel, and when he does these things, it feels unjust, and he keeps blowing it off. And my friend, who I trust, who could see it from an outside perspective and say, Silas, Taylor's right. You need to change this behavior. Or even if you don't understand, you need to recognize that she has a different perspective than you, and you need to listen to it. And I genuinely would listen to it and be like, okay, I'm going to give my best effort to change, right? And so, like, does that make sense? Are you tracking with me? It's a dangerous game when a man thinks that he is the ultimate authority of perspective, and it has to make sense in his head to change his behavior. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. And if a man does not have that in his life, and you're thinking about like being in a relationship with this guy, he currently doesn't listen to anybody, truly listen, where he's willing to change behavior as a result of their correction or their thoughts. What makes you think that he's going to do that for you? If he's never done it before, what makes you think he's going to do it for you? And I don't say this in judgment. I say it in like a encouragement and a warning to think about these things, because that's what I was like. I was this person who, like, I didn't trust anybody's words into my life, so I really wouldn't change if they told me to do something, even if it was good for me. Even if I was hurting other people or acting in a certain way, I wouldn't listen. So that's a huge red flag. Huge red flag. Who is the person in their life that they're willing to submit to if that person were to give them correction, feedback, etc.? But yeah, I'm curious to know your thoughts. What do you guys think? If you're a man out there who take a genuine look at yourself in the mirror and say, if someone came up to me and said, hey, you should stop this behavior, or you should try this or something, is there one person that could say that and I would listen? And then for you girls out there, or women, or whoever's watching, if you're in a relationship, ask yourself, like, when I come to my partner and I say, hey, these things, you do these things, and every time you do it, it makes me feel this way. Do they acknowledge it and make an effort to change, or do they just dismiss you or invalidate you? That is a dangerous place to be. And I'm super thankful that I've been able to actually recognize these patterns in myself and change. I'm not perfect by any means, but I've come a really long way in this. In fact, yesterday after dinner, it was like one of the best compliments I've ever gotten. We were driving home, and my wife Taylor was like, early in our relationship, you would say these things that sounded really good, but I was always like embarrassed because I didn't fully trust that you were those things. The things that the man that you described, I didn't really believe that at the time, or trust that's who you were. But I'm so proud of you now, because like 3.5 years into our relationship, I can confidently say the things that you're talking about, that's who you are. And so that was super encouraging to me when my wife can compliment me that way, because I don't have a great track record of relationships. I never saw a good relationship growing up. And so I was just always doing relationships like what I just like maybe saw in movies or whatever, and that's not a good game plan for having a good relationship, just seeing what you see on movies or whatever, or even what your parents had if you grew up in a broken home like me where your parents weren't married and it was just a bad relationship. So, yeah, all of that to say, the one biggest red flag, and I would encourage you to, if you're a man, to begin that process of finding someone that can really speak into your life. And if you are a girl looking for a guy, make sure that that's something they have in their life. I promise you that is going to save you so much trouble. So thanks for watching that. Thanks for listening. I'm gonna actually jump into some of these comments now from the last video. Overall, I will say this. I made a video yesterday or 2 days ago talking about should I ignore my past or embrace it, and overwhelming majority of people are like, embrace it. There was a couple people that were just like, delete it. Delete your channel. And for those people, I'd say no. I want to talk about, I'm going to share this comment here. It's from Danimal. I wrote a few weeks ago a comment, so I write it again. Just do whatever you want to do with your content. Just ask yourself what you want to achieve with all of this. Do you want to have massive views, or is it about self-fulfillment, providing perspective and important life lessons to others? In a previous video, you said YouTube is not about validation / ego anymore. Yeah, that's good. I love this comment. I love this comment because for two reasons. One, it's just thoughtful. I love thoughtful comments. Like, hey, I watched your video, I listened, here's my thought. That's thoughtful. The second reason I love this comment is because it's kind of just like accountability, which I love. Basically, it's like, hey, you said in the past that this video, this YouTube platform isn't about views and stuff. It's not about ego. So what is it about? If it really is about just sharing life lessons and providing perspective, then what's the problem? I appreciate that. And my answer is yes. It is about providing perspective, talk about lessons, things I'm learning. It is about that. I'm just, that's my aim, that's my goal. I'm still like developing to believe that fully for myself. I think I'm still working to believe and be confident that yes, this is what I want to do. I just gotta push through it, because I do love talking about this stuff. I do love talking about it. I do love sharing my thoughts. The third thing I love about this comment is this comment. I found your perspective enriching when you were in Germany. I found them enriching when you were a dishwasher for a while, and I still find them very enriching now, although I'm not a Christian. We all grow, change as persons, so it should be completely fine for everyone that you and your content changed as well. All of this coming from an agnostic German. I love this. I love this comment. It's like, hey, I'm different than you, but I've always had an open mind and I've watched, and it's interesting. I do have a question for you, Danimal, and I think I want to like begin having these conversations. It inspired me. Like, I want to know about what it's like to be an agnostic. What does that mean for you exactly? What does it mean to be an agnostic? And dang, I kind of want to. It inspired me to make a whole series. Like, I want to make a series on, like, for those who are agnostic. What does that mean for you? How do you live your life? Like, what do you do when, like, what do you turn to when everything else fails? That type of thing. You don't have to comment now, but I'm just letting you know. Thank you for inspiring me on that. I prefer quality over quantity. Anyway. That's a great comment. I appreciate that. I'm going to go on because there's a lot. Frank McLeod said, definitely embrace your past. No reason to ignore it. It would be great if your channel could reflect your whole life, including the videos of the past. But of course, lighter content will always be more popular than heavy stuff and deep talk. That is a general thing, especially in social media. That's just a really good comment, because I think it's just like accurate. It gives me perspective, and it's just like, yeah, you're right. People are going to just enjoy entertainment more than specific topics. So I think naturally there's going to be less people who are interested in like more serious stuff. But with this channel, that's what I'm interested in. Like the light stuff, the fun stuff, like more like, I guess, entertainment stuff. I don't care to make videos about them. I just want to do them. I don't want to make a bunch of videos about doing the fun stuff. I just want to do the fun stuff. And then on this channel, I just want to talk about interesting topics, thought-provoking topics. This one was really good. I love this comment from Johnny. Haven't watched your last videos. I'm gonna move this over here. But was curious because of the title. I'm German and a Christian as well. I think there should be nothing wrong with changing the subject a YouTube channel is covering. One major problem I've got with Christianity in the US is how little it seems those odd structures, for example, megachurches and MAGA movement, are questioned by Christians themselves. Christianity and patriotism often go hand in hand, but seem to be a brewing ground for fascism. All too often, I see people using parts of the Bible to try to justify spiteful actions. That's not what Jesus' preachings were about. Love thy neighbor is such a key thing so many people seem to forget in practicing faith. I will check out your previous stuff now and wish you all the best. Please remain critical, and I would also love to hear your thoughts on the more unpleasant sides that often get swept under the rug. Yes, that's a great question. I'll say this, Johnny. There are way more people in the US that are practicing Christians, people of faith, I should say, that are not about what you described. I think there is the stuff that you see that about like Christian and MAGA that exists, but there's tons of people that are not about that. That just doesn't really make the news as much, because I'll tell you this, like, I'm not about it. I'm not about this idea of Christian patriotism. That's not a thing. Like, Christianity isn't about it doesn't belong to the US by any means. And anybody that says like, oh, Jesus is like an American God, it's a total chaos and wrong. It's just totally wrong. Jesus, like I said in a previous video, he was born in Israel, in the Middle East, and he is literally for everyone. He's available for everyone. He does not belong to the US. And this whole thing that coincides, it's a big mess, but just know I'm not about it. Jesus came to serve, not to be served. And he actually came and died. He gave up his life so that anybody and everybody, no matter where you come from, can have a relationship with God. Like, whether or not you believe that was like his whole thing. That was like the whole point. He came to serve, not to be served, and we can get into that. But know that I don't believe in a MAGA Christianity or whatever. And then finally, one more comment. I don't know who this is, their name specifically, but I just love that they say this. Spend your time on things you do like, since everybody's time on the planet is limited. So, yeah. And he said, I like most of your content up until now, so I keep my subscription for now. But I love it because it's like, for now. Keep it for now. And if it gets to a point where you're not interested anymore, great. Like, go somewhere else. And it's not like, no hard feelings. It is what it is. But he's right. My time is limited. I'm gonna freaking die. And I'm not going to die with regret because I didn't do what I wanted to do or what I felt compelled to do because I was scared or worried about what other people thought. So that's it for today. I appreciate you guys engaging. This has been fun. It's getting more fun. Yeah, it's getting more fun as we go. I'm just like, I feel like I'm building momentum and enjoying this again. I just got a comment right now as we were talking 4 minutes ago. Man, stop talking and listen to that to the fans. Do your thing, and if it's good, people will follow. I agree with that kind of, but I also don't agree with it because I do want this to be a community of thought, of engagement. I don't want fans, like very clearly, I don't want fans. I just want to create a space where good conversation, honest, real conversations happen where people listen. But I get the sentiment, like just do it. And I appreciate that. Yeah, that's it. I know this video went like way longer than just that red flag part, but like I said before, I kind of want to just make these videos with topics that are things that I'm inspired by, and then engage what I've talked about in the past. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody. Go do something outside, have fun, work out, do some exercise. God bless.